Hey guys, Uwais here from Blue Effects, and today we're going to be diving straight into Premiere Pro 2021 and providing you with a full beginner's tutorial in under 25 minutes. So without time to waste, let's actually jump into Premiere Pro and talk about all of the different various panels, overview of the software, the different tools, how to actually edit your first little sequence together, and how you can soon become an editing master in under 25 minutes. Let's jump into Premiere Pro right now and get started. So here we are in Adobe Premiere Pro, and immediately when you open it up, you'll be provided with this amazingly kind and inviting welcome back to Premiere Pro screen. Now here you'll see some of your recent projects, and you'll also have two little buttons on the side called New Project and Open Project. The new project you'd use to create, well, a new project, and the open project is something you would use in order to open a previous project if it's not listed here under your recent projects. So since we're going to be starting with a brand new one, let's go ahead and click New Project. Over here, we're presented with a screen in which we can essentially name our project and set our different settings. So the first thing I want you to do is give it a name. So here, I'm just going to call this Tutorial. Then underneath in the location tab, we're going to click Browse, and we're going to find a place on our computer where we want to save this Premiere Pro save file, kind of like where you'd save your Microsoft Word document. So for me, I already have it in this folder over here. It's the tutorial folder. I made a folder called Premiere NAE, which is After Effects tutorial, and that coming very soon, by the way. Let's select the folder, and automatically it's selected. Now over here, I wouldn't really change much over here. It should be set to the default for your computer, and for the purposes of this beginner tutorial, I'm addressing it as if you are a complete beginner, so don't worry about any of this complicated stuff. Just leave it as is and let Premiere Pro do the work. Alright, once we're done on that, let's click OK. So what Premiere Pro is doing now is creating a brand new project that has all of our data that we created with it. So basically it has the name, it's stored exactly where we want it to be stored, and now basically we are free to do whatever we want. So before we get started, what I want to do first is talk about the different panels we have. So we have a panel here, a panel here, a panel here, a panel over there. Looks a bit complicated, but actually it really isn't. So what I want to do is quickly review what these panels do, and afterwards we'll talk about the different tools that you can use to edit your footage, and thereafter we'll actually start editing, and I'll show you some of the basic controls and functionality of this program. Right, so in the top left hand corner, you have three different tabs that are staggered over here. Now obviously you can rearrange these tabs wherever you want, but Premiere Pro on its default will be opened like this, and so we'll keep it like this for the time being. So the first tab is called the Project tab, as it says project, and then it has the name of this project, and if you can remember, we named it Tutorial. And so this Project tab essentially is basically kind of like a chest or a cupboard or a drawer, anything that stores things, because any files that we bring into here, such as the footage we want to use, pictures, sound effects, music, all will be stored here under the name column, and we'll be able to see everything over here. If we go ahead and click to the next tab, just like a different Chrome browser tab, we have the effects panel, and this, if you might have not guessed by now, houses all of the effects that Premiere Pro has. So it has audio effects, audio transitions, video effects, inside here there's blurs and there's color correction effects, there's distortion effects, so many different things that you can use. Essentially, you find the effect you want to use, hold it, click and hold, and then drag it onto the clip you have over here. And then to control the different parameters for these effects, maybe how blurry it is or how not blurry it is, you'd use the Effect Controls panel. Now the Effect Controls panel will be blank unless you have a clip selected. As you see, it says no clip selected. When we select a clip down here, the controls for that clip will appear in the Effects Control panel. Now the reason I'm going a little bit fast here, guys, is because we want to do this under 25 minutes. If you do struggle to understand a specific concept, just rewind the video, maybe play me in a bit of a slower motion, and obviously if you have any questions, please drop them down below in the comment section, and we'll do our best to help you along in your editing journey. So moving on over here, we have the program window. Now this window displays everything that we are editing down here in this window, which is the timeline window. Think of this as a window, like a literal window that you're using to view what your final project will look like when you eventually save it and you have your video. Right, as I said, it displays what's happening over here in the timeline. Now the timeline essentially is just that, it's a timeline. Once we start importing things, you'll see timestamps over here, 1 minute, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, wherever it goes, not in that order of course. And you'll drag your clips in here sequentially, one after another, as well as your images, your sound effects, your music, anything you want to add over here. And you'll be able to view what you're adding over here as your final product in the program window. If it's not making sense, it's totally normal, but as we start actually using these panels in just a bit, they'll make more sense. The audio track mixer, again, this will also show some audio bars and basically shows the different audio levels that your different tracks are playing with. And again, this relates to something called a multi-track editor, in which what Premiere Pro actually is. And again, what is a multi-track editor? Well, I'll explain that later on. So you essentially have a breakdown now of what all these different panels do. So let's actually begin using them so that they can start to make sense for you guys. Because right now, even I am confused and I've been editing, well, for years. So, in order to start editing, the first thing we want to do is do what the software tells us, which is import media to start. So what does that mean? Essentially, we want to import some videos that we want to edit. So in order to import, you just have to double click inside of this panel and it will launch something called a media browser. You know, it's a basic library. And then you have to just navigate on your computer to where those footage files are stored. So for example, using the clip of my beautiful face that you saw before this screen capture, we can edit something. So I'll navigate to the folder, I'll find the clip, and I'll click open. And immediately we have our footage, well, a piece of footage inside the tutorial. Remember I said it's like a cupboard or a drawer that stores all of the things we're going to be working with? Well, here it is. So next, what we're going to do in order to edit with this, we're going to click it. Once it's highlighted, we're going to click and hold, and we're going to drag it here into the actual timeline. And boom, suddenly the software has come to life. We have a really handsome bloke's face over here, and we have something in the timeline. And so now you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. Because in the timeline here, we have the footage, the clip we're working on. And if we block out the program window over here, you won't be able to see what's going on here. But as I hop along, you can see the program window change because I'm moving through the timeline. So if I were to save this video as it is, this is what would happen. It would play like this, exactly how it is over here. And so this timeline tab essentially serves as a way to edit these videos and our clips, place them one after each other, and also stack them in the multi-track approach, which I'll explain just now. And here is where we view it. So the first thing I want to teach you guys how to do is actually trim off bits of video that's unnecessary. Because example over here, and by the way, I'm hitting the space bar to play, but you can use these controls, basic media player controls. This piece of footage starts at the point where I'm still pressing play or record on the camera. And so in my video, I obviously don't want this portion over here. So let's skip along to the point in which I start speaking. And to get a more zoomed in view, I'll use this little circle over here, and if I drag it this way, it gets zoomed in. If I drag it out, it gets smaller. So let's zoom in. And as we can see the wavelength over here of my audio. So if I move along, here I'm clapping to sync, you know, doing a nice little party over there. My beatboxing skills suck, I apologize for that. Please don't diss me in the comments. Anyways, so moving along, I'm making myself look all nice and fancy. Clearly it's not working, and boom, I started speaking over there. So we're going to essentially want to delete all of this nonsense until I start speaking. So in order to find the, well, that's a wide frame to pause on. To find the exact point, instead of just hopping around like this, I'm going to use something called frame by frame controls. And as you see, we have the play button, which plays, and then we have this button, which steps forward one frame. Boop, 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 boop. So I'm going to find the point where I'm just about to start speaking. Boom. And as you can see, I'm on the audio frame over there. We can even zoom in a bit more. Let's see who it is. So we can play and then frame forward, frame forward. This is essentially skipping one frame forward in time. And about here, I'm about to start. Don't worry if it looks funky, that's only going to be on screen for like a microsecond. So now, to trim this part over here, if we just hit delete, the entire clip will be deleted, as you can see here. So obviously we don't want to do that. By the way, to click undo, Ctrl Z, just like in Microsoft Word or any other program. So there are two ways to do this. The first way to do, the longer way, and the way that you would use more frequently, is actually going over here to the tools panel and clicking this tool over here. It's called the razor tool, and essentially it's used to cut things. So we'd hover over this point over here. Let's just zoom in a bit, and we'd click cut. And that essentially splits this clip into two separate clips. Then I can't use this now. This is my razor tool. We'll go back to the tool panel and we'll use the selection tool. So these are already two tools we've been introduced to. The razor one cuts things. The selection tool is basically your mouse cursor. We'll then select the previous clip, which contains all of that nonsense we don't want, and then just hit delete on your keyboard and it's gone. The problem here though is that we start at the beginning of our video, we just have a bunch of blank space. So in order to fill that, let's click our video that we want, drag it to the start, it'll snap into place at the start. And boom, if we now have our video starting exactly where we want it to. Now, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Another way you could have done that actually is if you're at the point that you want to start and it's at the beginning of the video, you could just click over here when this arrow appears and just drag it and boom, and then readjust it. So as you can see what I did, I'll do it again. You just go over here, click, drag, and adjust the end of the video. So that type of cutting actually works well if you want to trim the start and the end off. So let's zoom out, go towards the end, and then we can do the same over there. So yeah, I'm speaking, boom, peace. There we go. So over here, I'll just drag it there and end it. Now you might be asking, why would I use the razor tool when I can just use the dragging tool? Well, for example, let's say I'm in the middle of the video over here. And here I stopped speaking and then I'm doing something else, and obviously, whoops, I don't want that portion in the video. Now here I don't have anything to attach to like I do here to just drag the video, as you can see. So here what I would do is use the razor tool. So I would wait till I stop speaking, then I would go frame by frame until maybe there, click the razor tool, snip it over there, then I will go to the next point where I start speaking again, frame by frame, boom, I'm speaking here, razor tool it again, click the select tool, click the middle portion, hit delete, and then scoot this one up. And now what I have is a jump cut. As you can see, it just jumps there between the clips. Boom. That's one of the most standard industry cuts you'll ever use. It's in every single movie and every single YouTube video, whether disguised or not. It's called a jump cut. It's a way to essentially, without much effort, chop out unnecessary bits of information. And just like that, you've learned 2 techniques. I know it's been very quick, I'm moving really fast, and no doubt there's going to be a couple of comments that say, wow, this guy moves too fast. But for all of you to understand this, I need to move quickly so we can fit in a lot and give you guys a real value for your time. So we've covered now cutting, we've covered splicing videos together, we've covered ending the video nicely. So now let's talk about what a multi-track editor is. So if I enlarge this window, you can see that there are multiple tracks here. We have V1, which is video 1, V2, which is video 2, and V3, which is video 3. We also have A1, A2, and A3, which are 3 audio tracks. Now what's really cool about this is because Premiere Pro allows you to stack different layers on top of each other without totally obscuring the layers. So what I mean by that? So let's say over here, I was talking about a car and I wanted to include a picture of a car, but not over the entire frame, maybe just in this corner. So what would I do? First, I'd go into the media panel or the project window. I'd double click. I'd navigate to my pictures and I would find a picture of a car. Scratch that, I don't have a picture of a car, so we're going to be using a picture of a beach. So I've imported the picture. Now what I'm going to do is, instead of dragging it into this panel, which will essentially replace my video, what I'm going to do is actually drag it on top of my video in this panel, in this layer over here, V2. So let's drag it in and we'll drag it on top of the video. And now what's happening is, at the same time as the video that's playing, the picture will also be displaying. Now, to make that more prevalent and to make it fit in the corner, we need to resize it. And remember what I said earlier, in order to resize and control the picture or the video, we need to highlight it and then go to the controls panel, which is the effect controls. And in here, we want to expand something called the motion panel. And as we start decreasing the scale, the beauty of Premiere Pro takes place, and boom, we're now resizing our picture. So we can then resize it, let's say about maybe 15. Nope, that is a bit too small, let's say 17. And then with the position controls, we can either click the position controls and then move it around, or we can use these dials over here. Any position controls in any software, and we can scoot it up over here. Then let's zoom in on the timeline. And then let's say I start talking about pictures here. So we wanted to start here, let's scoot it up over there. And then let's say I stop talking about it over here. Now we can use the razor tool to cut that part, but remember what I said, if it's at the end, highlight the end, drag, boom. And now I'm talking about the beach, talking about my fun time there, and boom, it's gone again. And that's the beauty of a multi-track editor, because if we only had one video track and one audio track to work with, we would have to decide whether I want my video to be on display at one time, or I want the picture. But with a multi-track editor, we allowed multiple things on screen at the same time. And you may be asking yourself, am I limited to 3? No, because you can right click here and add a track. You can then add as many video tracks as you want and as many audio tracks as you want. I know that's nuts to add that many, but hey, you never know. My computer will explode if I do that, so let's not do that. Okay, we're moving pretty fast here, but let's talk about a couple of other things that we can do. Now, obviously, this works with music as well. If I have another music track I want to add in, I can add it in over here, and then I can control its volume in the audio track mixer. So, the audio mixer essentially is ways of controlling the volume of every single audio track independent of one another. So let's say I have the video over here. The video audio is positioned on audio 1. And so I find audio 1, A1, and over here I can adjust how loud or soft this is. Now the reason this is very, very valuable is because if I have a music track playing at the same time underneath over here, so let's double click, we'll go to music, find a random song over here. I don't know what the song is, but whatever. Let's add it in over here. And then we select this, it's on audio 2. It's gonna be way too loud and it's gonna drown out me speaking. So we'll go to audio 2 over here and just decrease the volume, give it a play, and then see if it's working or not. Play around with that, decrease it a bit more. We can even set a manual number over here. And then we can essentially make it as loud or soft as we want so that it doesn't drown out our voice. So that's how that works. Another thing we can talk about, of course, is adding actual effects to our video. So as I said, Premiere Pro has a lot of different effects that you can use with its transitions, audio effects, color effects, and so you can really go wild with this. So if we go into audio or video effects, we can add a bunch of color grading effects. So let's say I don't like how this video looks. I feel like it's a bit flat, and with good reason, because I actually shot this on a flat color profile. So let's go into color correction, and then we'll add something like, for example, where is it now? Color correction channel. Okay, let's search for something called the curves effect. RGB curves. We'll then click, drag, and hold it onto our video and let go. Immediately, well, nothing has happened. But remember what I said about the controls? If we go there, there's nothing there. Let's click the video and boom, suddenly we have our controls. So we don't need the motion in this case because I don't want to size up or down my video. So let's close that. What I want to do is have the RGB curves effect now a bit, expanded. So I'm not going to go deep into the color grading techniques here because this is a beginner tutorial and I don't want to scare you off, and this might look very scary right now, but I do want to give you a little bit of an overview just so you can do some basic color work on whatever videos you're doing. And if you guys do want to see a bit more of an advanced color correction or color grading tutorial, then definitely drop us a comment below and I'll be happy to make one for you guys. But essentially what I want to talk to you guys about here is we have 4 different blocks. We have the red block, the green, the blue, and the master. The red block, if I click on here and I add a point, I can essentially control the red channel of my video. Same goes for the green channel, and same goes for the blue channel. So essentially, if I feel over here, it's looking a little bit too green, we'll go into the green channel, click in the middle somewhere. Let's just delete that point over there. Oops, I deleted the entire effect. Let's just reset this effect actually. If we go here, click reset. In the green channel, we'll click a little bit over here in the middle, and then we can start dragging it down ever so slightly. And if I zoom in over here, you can see that the video is getting just a little less green. Now, obviously, I'm using very basic terms. If you are a master at editing or you're a bit more, in the intermediate level, you might find it to be stupid what I'm saying. But to explain to beginners, this is what helped me and this is how I would talk to myself. So essentially, it's making it less green. As you can see, the less green I make it, the more red it becomes. So let's decrease that just a little bit. Then I want to take out some of the red also. So let's take out some of the red. That's just enough. And then we go into the blue. We take out just a bit of blue. Now you may be asking, what did that do? Well, if I click this FX button over here, it's going to turn the effect on and off. So let's turn it off. And as you can see, let's zoom in a bit more. We turn it on. It's doing just a little bit, but you'll be surprised what your audience will notice. And finally, the master tab. Here what we do is if we drag it up, it increases the brightness. If we drag it low, it makes it more dark. So what I like to do over here is click a point in the middle. I like to drag it up to brighten it up a bit. And then in the corner, I drag it to the right to introduce some contrast. Let's drag it a bit down and boom. That's essentially my color work for correction done. Now let's say this is a bit washed out. I want to make it pop a bit more. Go into the effects panel. We'll search for the hue. Whoops. The color pass, color replace, 4 color gradient. Where is this 3-way color corrector? Let's drag it on. effect controls. And in the three-way color corrector, don't worry about all this. Let's just go down and we go into this tab over here and we increase the master saturation by about maybe to 120 from 100. Okay, that's a bit too much. I'm now looking like a pumpkin. Let's make it to 110. And boom, that's my color correction done. So if we turn off all of the effects we just did by clicking the FX button, this is what it originally looked like. We added some color in, we added some curves, and this is my final product. Obviously, you can go nuts with this and you can do whatever you want. So obviously, here's a problem we're running into. My music is extending past my video. So we'll just go to the music here, click the slice tool, slice it at the end, click the select tool, click it, press delete, and boom, my video now ends over here. So finally, we are done with this, and now what we want to do is export this video, which means save it so that we can upload it onto YouTube, Instagram, and all our beautiful places. One more thing I forgot, if you notice here, as it's playing, the color correction suddenly disappears from the video. Boom. And that's because I only added the effects to this video. So the simple way to fix that is click this video, effects controls. Let's select both color effects, right click, click on copy, go to this video, right click, and then we click on paste. And boom, the color effects are there. So to export this video, all we have to do is hit Control M on the keyboard, and it will fail on me. Control M. Come on, Premiere Pro. Okay, we have to do this the long way since the shortcut seems to not be working with me right now. So Control M essentially is the shortcut, but it seems to not be set up over here. So we'll go up to File, then we'll go down and we'll go to Export, and then we'll go to Export Media. As you can see over there, I was not lying, because if we go down, Export, Control M. So Premiere Pro is not behaving. We'll click Media, and it'll bring up the export settings. Here, what I want to do, I'm basically going to tell you the best export settings for YouTube. And so what I want you to do is, in the format, click on something called H.2x4. Let's let it load. And then we'll click on match source, high bitrate. That's fine. It's going to match the source of the video. We'll then click the name over here, and we'll find a place to save it as. So this is going to save it to my downloads folder. I don't want that. Instead, what I wanted to do is save it to the folder that I'm actually working with. We can then name it whatever we want, and then we click save. We'll then go down over here. Everything else we can sort of leave as for now on standard, because we're not really worried about this. But what I would say is change the bitrate to 2 parse, and then I would change the target bitrate to about 20 maybe. Again, these things don't have to mean much to you, but just copy these settings. Again, if you do want to have a more highly in-depth video about exporting, we can do that. So the review, change the format to H.264. This will make sure your video is saved as an MP4 file. Click the output name, select wherever you want to save it, name it whatever you want, click save. Change the bitrate encoding to 2 parse, 2020, or more if you want. 20 seems okay for me. We'll then go to audio. Audio seems to be fine. It's on AAC. Bitrate's about 320, which is the highest. That's good. We can then also, if you have a fast computer, you can click maximum render quality, and then you hit export, and the video will start to export clearly very fast over here. And it's doing parse 1 of 2 because we hit 2, double parse on bitrate, and we'll essentially have our video exported just like that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Back to that handsome face. So if you guys have enjoyed that, there's a little look into Premiere Pro 2021 and how you can actually jump into it and quite easily start editing and creating your own videos, maybe for your business, to promote your business, for your YouTube channel, for Instagram, anything you want to do. The power is yours with powerful tools like Premiere Pro. If you need help with Premiere Pro, definitely leave a comment down below. We'll be more than happy to assist you. Drop us an email, follow us on our social media, and check out our BlueFX store. We have Premiere Pro templates which can actually help you edit faster and more efficiently, and that's all linked down below as well as on screen right now. Turn on subscribe, subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm fumbling over my words. Definitely like the video, share it with all of your mates, and yeah, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.